Hello, welcome back. This is going to be a very rambling video, so just brace yourself, grab a cup of tea, and let's sit down. So the topic of the afterlife is always complicated, and this is definitely a topic that everyone has differing opinions on. I just wanted to share mine. It's the thinning of the veil. This is the time when a lot of us have a lot of death imagery around. We're working with the darker deities. We have skeletons and ghosts and tombstones and stuff around. We're working with the ancestors, so what better time than now to talk about the dead? So my opinion of the afterlife has changed and adjusted over the years. This is just my current thoughts on it. Obviously, it's all speculation. Nobody knows what happens till you die yourself, so just kind of take it for what it is. My most current stance is similar to what I've talked about in the past. I think there's multiple parts to the soul, and like the who you are, whatever you want to call that, soul, essence, whatever. I think there's multiple aspects to it, which is how you can continue to have reincarnation, but you can still also call on your past selves and the ancestors. I feel like there's just like this split. I've described it in the past as kind of being a starfish, because you break off a part and then that part can become a new starfish, and then the old one, I think it is supposed to like grow its leg back or something. I'm not like a biologist, but I remember hearing about that on like some documentary eons ago, and it's just kind of stuck in the brain. And I liked that idea. And the idea that the big part of who you are that goes through many lifetimes and experiences different things, and it just depends on what situations you're put in and how you'll respond each time, that part continues on. And so that one is however long it ends up taking. I feel like sometimes you can move on pretty quickly, especially if you didn't have a lot of unfinished business. That part of you can move on pretty rapidly. The other part of you, who you were in this lifetime, I don't think it disappears. I don't think when you get reincarnated, it suddenly dissipates and you become the new self. For me, that aspect is what moves on to Summerland or to Valhalla or Hell or whatever. Hell with one L. Again, I'm working with the Norse a lot and I'm really liking that concept. And there's a bunch of different halls in Norse mythology, which I find very interesting that the ancestors have various options of where to go to. Nonetheless, the idea of an afterlife of some sorts. The part that was you in this lifetime goes there. I feel like that's where your past lives are. And when you call upon the ancestors, you look into the past life experience, it's there. I'm not a firm believer in the idea that time is not a thing and that we're all on like these different trajectories of existence and like timelines are overlapping. I don't love the idea that time happens simultaneously. Different lifetimes, they're separate. I don't understand how that would happen, because like, how can we be interacting only with the past and not the future? You know? It's just a concept I've never gotten a hold of, and no, the past is the past, and we're in the now, and then there'll be the future. And so when we do our ancestor work, I feel like we're communicating with the us that is each lifetime that has moved on to wherever. And when the veil is thin, or you can have like a really strong distinction with a person, like you can call them through and they can kind of communicate, I feel like it's more of they can talk for a little bit, like a phone call, but they can't stay indefinitely. Which is why during ritual we can call upon our ancestors during certain points of the year quite easily, or if it's right after a death. I feel like the death gods as a whole kind of allow that gate to kind of swing back and forth for a sec, let them do what they need to do, and you can still communicate to some degree. Or perhaps maybe they have some kind of sacred spot that they can go to and kind of tap into our world just like a little bit. Or maybe the gods don't collect them right off the bat and their soul's just kind of meandering for a little bit. There's a variety of options. Of course, nobody will know, but I think that can lead to why there are certain hauntings of people hanging around for a long time. But we don't really have like ancient Egyptians hanging around, you know? Or like the ancient Greece people, like the average folks that we have no idea who their names are. You don't really hear much about like hauntings from them. It's kind of more recent history. So I feel like there's a certain point at which the gods are like, aight, you've had enough, come on home. And then they dwell there. Or when you help somebody pass over, that's like getting them into the realm of the gods. But basically at some point you will move on to wherever. I think they're all kind of connected, but much like a city, there's different areas, different points of entry, and I feel like each one can kind of have its own experience. I tell this joke often, and it's one of my favorites, and I feel like it's the best explanation for the afterlife. It does come from a more Christian background of things, but as somebody who's grown up and lived in Utah, it is the most hilarious joke ever, and I love it so much. And I feel like it's kind of how I view the afterlife to some degree. So you die, and St. Peter is guiding you and giving you the tour of heaven. You've made it to the Golden Gates or whatever. So he's showing you around and is like, oh, over here's where the Catholics hang out, here's where the Protestants hang out, and you know, just kind of giving you a tour or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then you kind of look over in the distance and there's like this bricked area and you're like, it's over there. And then St. Peter goes, oh, that's the Mormons. They think they're the only ones up here. And it makes me laugh so hard every time. And it's stupid, I know. But that's kind of how I view the afterlife, that there's different areas that people kind of hang out in. And so if you want to believe in like heaven, you would have kind of more of that imagery around you. Or if you wanted to have Summerland, where it's eternally summer. For my husband, he would absolutely hate that. He doesn't like summer. He has allergies really bad. He likes winter. And so for him, Summerland would be more wintry and probably more like Hell's realm because it's supposed to be icy and cold, so he would be happy there. But I think of it more in that aspect, and that the gods kind of manage each different set of people as they come in, and if you worked with certain ones, they kind of manage you and stuff. Or if you didn't believe in anything at all, you just kind of have this cool place to hang out. You don't necessarily have to interact with the gods. They don't have to be managing you constantly. And then again, the part of who you are that continues to live on is then reborn into a new life. I don't really have a concept of like how frequently that happens. Find out when it happens, right? All of us are gonna die at some point. Unfortunately, immortality is not an option for us. This topic has been pretty heavy on my mind, and so I hope this kind of explained it a bit. This time of year, it just always, the more deaths I experience, the more somber this time of year is getting, which sucks. I miss having fun for Halloween, but now all I can think about is like all of the deaths. All of them, because we've had a lot in the past few years. Like every year there's at least 1 to 2 deaths, and so it's kind of getting old. I'm sick of everyone I know dying, and so it's just been really heavy on my mind. I haven't really talked about it too much, but like we're having somebody that I know that's in the process of passing, so it's just been really heavy on my mind, and so I just thought, you know, this would be a good time to talk about this. So I would love to hear your opinions on what happens in the afterlife. Of course, it's all theoretical. There's no need to fight. Absolutely nobody has any idea what's going on at all. It could be the spaghetti monster who meets us on the other side. We'll never know till we get there. So there's no sense in fighting about it. It's just opinions, it's just theories, it's just ideas, but it might give other people ideas that they hadn't considered before, so write it or make a video response and tag me. Huge thank you to my patrons. I'll have their names over here. If you would like to support me, it is patreon.com/nightwillowcrafts. You get a bunch of exclusive content over there pretty much every week. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.